I'm going to have to do the Q&A from like here, because there's I've left like 50 people waiting because I talk way too much.
You've got some committed fans over there right now.
It's a problem. I talk too much. How are you all doing anyway? You good? You having a good day? Marvellous.
So I feel like we're under pressure now, or we've got to like get this going quick.
Go.
Yeah.
Quick fire.
They're all over there now. Well, Chris, you've been involved in the movies right from the start.
I have.
So I asked this to most of the guys up here. You must have some absolutely amazing memories. Is there any one memory that stands out that you can share with us all?
There are honestly there are so many. The one that I seem to have been talking about a lot recently, and therefore it's kind of sticking in my mind a lot at the moment, is the first film. So Percy in the first film, his big job is to take the Gryffindors, the first years, up to the common room for the first time. And we have this whole scene where it's like Percy at the front going, keep up, follow me, this way, everybody, quickly now. And we're up the moving staircases and we're down the corridors and off we go. And there's a part, and this is the bit that I had to do for the audition. Oh, look, you're all on the cameras. Hi guys. There's a bit where we all, that was the bit I had to do in my audition. So when I auditioned for it, that was the bit I had, was Percy taking the Gryffindors to the common room. And when I auditioned for it, there was a whole extra bit. In fact, there's a whole extra bit in that scene that never made it to the film. And I'm still absolutely gutted that it didn't, because we filmed it.
Yeah.
And it was a bit where Percy and the first years meet Peeves the Poltergeist.
Rik Mayall.
Played by Rik Mayall. Who knows who Rik Mayall is? This is where there's a bit of a split in the audience.
All the mums and dads.
You can tell the age range just straight through. So Rik Mayall who is sadly, very sadly no longer with us, but was the funniest, possibly naughtiest, maybe rudest comedian you could ever imagine. I grew up listening to him reading Roald Dahl books on like cassette tapes that my mum said. I was doing George's Marvellous Medicine, all like the Jack and Ori stuff. But he did, there was a show called Bottom, there was a show called The Young Ones. He was sort of famous for being really rude and what's the word I'm after? He was kind of off the wall, you never knew what you were going to get. And they'd cast him to play Peeves the Poltergeist, and he was brilliant. Normally when you're filming with ghosts, because obviously we do film with a lot of ghosts in Harry Potter, you don't often see the ghosts because it's magic and they're not really there. So, for instance, I had a conversation with Nearly Headless Nick in the first film, where he pops up out of a table. And that's played by John Cleese. I've never even seen John Cleese in real life.
Wow.
Not met him, not seen him. I had lines of dialogue with him. No, he was a tennis ball on a stick. But with Rik Mayall, I think because it was Rik, and because you never quite knew what you'd get, they decided to bring him in, and he stood behind the camera while I was going, Peeves, please stop being an idiot, and please leave us alone, Peeves, stop it. And there's Rik Mayall stood behind the camera doing what Rik Mayall does best. And, we're called Thirsties, what fun! Just 2 weeks of that, and having insults and abuse hurled at you by Rik Mayall was the best 2 weeks of my life.
And they call it a job.
I know, it's terrible. I got paid to do that.
That's amazing.
There could be worse things to do.
So Chris, Percy is, well, how would we describe? He's a bit of a square, bit of a nerd.
Pompous, arrogant, family disowning, ministry loving.
And how does he compare to you in real life?
I hope we're not too similar. I hope. I think we have a lot in common, but we're not very similar. I, for instance, am an only child, which I think changes everything. I was a school prefect, which is why I went for the part of Percy in the first place, because I thought I was a 16-year-old ginger school prefect. It seemed like the obvious part to go for. Like, if I'm going to get a part, it's probably the one I'm already kind of playing in real life. So there's one of me. I don't have hundreds of irritating smaller ginger siblings in my life. They're not really irritating. Some of them are. Mentioning no twins. But no, I don't think we're that similar. I do like a rule. That is the one thing. If a sign that says "Don't do this," I won't do it.
Yeah.
I get really like
follow the rules.
Yeah, stand behind the line. I will stand behind that line.
Absolutely.
Forever, possibly.
Yeah. Have you been up at the Ministry of Magic trying to get in there and impress them?
I've not yet. I've not yet. I've been talking to all you lovely people.
But yeah, you have some really. Percy has some pretty amazing brothers.
He has some
series.
interesting characters.
So this is an unfair question. Who's your favourite of the brothers, of the Weasley brothers?
And this is an unfair question, and I'm going to pick the sister.
Ginny.
Ginny's my favourite. Because I don't know, when I first read The Chamber of Secrets, when The Chamber of Secrets came out as a book, I remember really liking Ginny and thinking there's a lot more to this character than we've seen, because although she comes across really, really shy and kind of, obviously she's got this massive crush on Harry Potter and is just completely mortified and embarrassed at every second. But then you start to see little flashes of like this sort of fire and again, I don't know what the word is, but she's feisty. Yeah. And I think it's obviously because she is the only girl and the youngest kid in the family.
No, she's a redhead.
Yeah,
feisty redhead.
Feisty redhead. She has to fight for the attention and to get a place because she's the little kid. She's the little kid and she's the only girl. So no, I like Ginny a lot. I think she's a blooming good role model.
She absolutely is. Absolutely. So we've got one more question for you before we go to the crowd. So the first two movies, you worked under the direction of the absolute legend, Chris Columbus. Oh my God, what was that like, taking direction from that guy?
Chris Columbus is... It sounds like everything I'm saying is everybody was lovely and it was all really nice, and it sounds like I've been kind of programmed into it, but it was true. It's so true. We had the best time. But Chris Columbus directed my favourite film of all time ever, which is Mrs. Doubtfire. It's the best film. I'm sorry, I will not have anything said against that film. I've loved it since I was a child. I watched it again recently for the first time since Robin Williams sadly died, and it's still brilliant. And it gets better the older you get because you start to notice all the little things you didn't notice when you were a kid.
Entendre.
All the double entendre. Yeah, it's all there. It's brilliant. But Chris Columbus is amazing, and honestly, I'm sure there's probably more dramatic directors in the world. He's, you know, he can be considered to be a little bit middle of the road at times, and some of his films are, you know, they're kids' films.
He has a genre.
He has a genre, and he does it very well. It's not necessarily dark and dramatic. However, there is nobody like him when it comes to directing people who've never seen a camera or a film set before, and he is phenomenal at it. Like, Sure, I was a bit older than the kids. I was 16 and they were between 10 and 13, 14, sort of the main kids, as it were. But still, none of us had been on a film set before. None of us had seen a camera. We weren't used to this. If we'd done acting, it was at school, in a high school musical or a youth theatre. That was all I'd done. And there was no pressure. You never felt like the clock was ticking, or 47 takes later. It wasn't a problem that you might still not be quite getting it right. It was all about making sure that we were cool, we were okay, and that we were getting the best out of it. And I think getting the best out of it as kids, you saw the best of us on film. He's brilliant. Honestly, I can't say a bad word. I love him.
He recently tweeted to J.K. Rowling saying he's up to do, kind of stirring the pot about getting the gang back together again. He'd love to direct. Would you be up for that if it happened?
Totally would. Drop anything. Drop anything. But of course, we're coming up to the 20th anniversary.
That's why you tweeted.
Next 2021 will be the 20th anniversary of the release of the first film. It's 19 years in September since we started filming.
We're so old.
I'm 35. I don't know where it's going. Honestly, I've discovered this. I turned 35 in November, and it dawned on me that and it's quite a big change, that I've now moved from the 21 to 34 box when you're filling out a survey to the 35 to 49 box.
Oh yeah. You grow in huge increments.
I'm old.
You don't look a day over 34, isn't that right?
Thank you kindly.
Okay, Chris, thank you so much. We're going to take some questions from the Dublin Wizard Con #2 crowd. Hey, anybody out there got a question?
There was one right there. That there's a microphone. I see. Sorry.
Which line from the movies are your favorite?
Which what?
Line.
Which line from the movies is my favourite? It's probably not one of mine. I mean, Percy just says, "Keep up, hurry up, follow me quickly this way. Come on." That's all he says on like a loop. Honestly, I swear Percy is just going round Hogwarts like this. Come on, follow me this way. Keep up. Come on this way. Follow me. First years. There you are. Come on this way. Honestly, I think he's like one of those like toy trains just on a track the whole time. I think one of my favourite lines is Hermione's line when she says, "What is it?" Oh, there we go. I think we should all go to bed before we get killed or worse, expelled. That and Voldemort's really creepy laugh in Deathly Hallows when he does that strange. What is that? Honestly.
Brilliant. Anybody else out there got a question? Helen is working around.
She's at the back.
Microphone. She's at the back.
Coming down the middle.
Okay.
In down the line. Hello.
What's your favourite Harry Potter movie?
What's my favourite Harry Potter movie? Oh Lord. Weirdly, I think it might be. Again, I'm a bit weird about this. It's one I'm not in. It's the sixth. I think it's the sixth one. I think it's Half-Blood Prince. I think. It might be that, or possibly Order of the Phoenix, because I like when they turned a bit darker and stuff started like really happening, like we lose Dumbledore and stuff like. Spoiler alert, sorry kids. Just realised who hasn't read or watched all the films? Just close your ears for the next 20 minutes. Yeah, I think later on they get darker, so definitely 5 or 6 I think are my 2 favourites. 7's just like this massive action, 7 and 8, 7.1, whatever you want to call it, they're all a bit too much action-y action for me, but like 5 and 6, there's a lot going on, there's some really good acting going on in there, so yeah. Where are we going? Who's next? Aha!
How did you feel when you did all the Harry Potter series?
It is the weirdest job ever. Because it's not every day you get to go to work and be a wizard. Let's face it, unless you're like, I don't know, I was going to say Paul Daniels, but that's probably a really bad reference. I can't think of a wizard, I can't think of a magician that's not like from the 80s.
Paul Daniels, yeah.
Paul Daniels, David Copperfield, I don't know. What? Dynamo! Oh yeah, he's a thing, he's from Leeds. Or Sheffield or somewhere. Who's that other one that's doing stuff at the moment? Darren Brown, I suppose he's a magician. Yeah, honestly, it is the best job ever. You get to go to work, wear robes and a pointy hat, and hang out with really cool people and do really cool stuff. Honestly, there is nothing more fun if it's something you enjoy. Like, I love acting. I love getting up on a stage and pretending to be somebody else. It is, for me, the best thing, because believe it or not, I'm quite a shy, quiet person.
Really?
Yeah. This is like a bit of a performance, I guess. And playing Percy or playing any part is a performance, and I get to pretend to be somebody else who's not shy. So that's always cool. But it is it's a weird job because you spend a long time locked away in a studio making a film, and then at the end of it you go to this big place in the middle of London and thousands and thousands of people scream at you, and then they all watch the film. And it's weird. It's a very weird job. Not many jobs in the world where probably, I don't know, maybe 60% of the population of Earth has probably come across Harry Potter. I don't know. I'm just picking numbers out.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
It's weird. It's very weird.
Okay, we're going to take one more question for Chris.
And then if you have other questions, there's a line formed over there. I will answer them, I promise. See you later.
How does it feel to know you're such a big part of so many people's childhoods?
Yeah, that's a deep question you're asking me there. It's weird. I mean, it's wonderful because Harry Potter's been a huge part of my life since I was 13 or 14 when I started reading the books when they first came out. And I love Harry Potter. I loved Harry Potter from the first time I picked up a book and read it. So it's really special because it's a special part of my life because I love the books. It's a special part of my life because I've spent most of my professional career in some way, shape or form. In fact, most of my adult life, over half my life I've spent talking about Harry Potter now. And that it's an incredible privilege to be a part of it. And what I love about Harry Potter and what I love about this fan community, and there are a lot of you, there's like 3,000 of you here today, which is amazing, but there's hundreds and thousands of millions of you all over the world. You're like a massive extended family. And what I love about Harry Potter is that we all have that in common. And everybody you've got immediate friends wherever you go. You've got somebody to talk to about Harry Potter, and we all look out for each other. It's a really special community of people. It's a huge community of people, but it's really, really special. Harry has brought a lot of happiness to a lot of people. I've met a lot of people around the world who say Harry Potter has helped me through really awful parts of my life and really difficult times. And that's a really special thing. I mean, and people who say thank you for what you've done. You helped get me out of a really low point. And I say all I did was put on a costume and say some lines. I'm not responsible. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not responsible for physically making you feel better. But if watching our films helps people, then that's a huge and wonderful privilege.
That's pretty awesome.
I love Harry Potter, and I'm glad that everybody else does too, because it's very special.
Absolutely.
Very, very special.
Chris, I do have one more question for you.
Go on then.
So I know you've been involved in TV production and movie, behind the camera, so to speak. What, can we expect to see you back at the correct part of the camera, in front of it?
Oh, I don't know. So
I know everybody here would like to see Chris back.
Yeah, you might have to find a theatre. Do you know what? The thing is, I discovered doing Harry Potter that I love acting. I love getting up and I love performing. But when you work on a film, it's very, very different to working on a play or a stage show where you turn up at a theatre at 6 o'clock, you put on your makeup and your costume, at 7:30 you go on stage and you start telling the story at the beginning and you work through until it finishes, the curtain comes down, you take a bow, everyone claps and you go home again. Whereas with film, you film it all out of sequence, it's complicated, it's not just about storytelling, it's technical. And I love the technical side of filmmaking. I love all the stuff that goes into it. But for instance, if you're on stage doing a play and you say your lines wrong, you've said them wrong, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't go back and do it again. You just have to get on and work your way out of it. Whereas in film, somebody shouts cut, you do it again until it's right. And that's amazing, but even if you do take one, if you're doing a take on a film set, you can do it absolutely perfectly, but the camera might be out of focus, or one of the extras walking behind you falls over, somebody's phone goes off, so you might have given the best performance you've ever given, but you're still going to have to do it again. And that's, for me as an actor, I find that really complicated and tricky. It's not what works for me. So put me up on a stage, or put me behind a camera. One or the other. Ideally both. But I mean, I love it all. But well, so my happy place is up here on a stage.
Awesome, that's great. And it's been absolutely a pleasure and an honour to have you up here on stage.
Thank you for listening to me.
Everybody, Chris Rankin.
Thank you guys.